Hello, today for review I've got AUNE Jasper. It's their new single dynamic driver in-ear monitors. AUNE, it's an unusual company with their vision in sound, and often they sacrifice something in order to achieve the sound that they'd like to create. For example, their first player, if I remember right, it was M1, was really good sounding and really interesting player for that time, but it supported only wave files and offered really minimalistic interface. But it was really well sounding, and some people even prefer it over the other dubs that were on the market at that time, and I can understand. They didn't get huge success with the M2 and other subsequent players, because they released the M2, M2 Pro and so on, and also it was minimalistic in terms of features, but it was stylish and also interesting in terms of sound. So what I'm talking about is that they created really interesting sound for their in-ear monitors, and they spend a lot of time polishing it and perfecting. So despite the pretty high price, it costs $300, they managed to deliver really interesting product, and today we will talk about it. In the dynamic driver here they used the unusual symmetric magnet system with uniform magnet field. They used spatial internal chamber, they used some sophisticated material for diaphragm, so they definitely tuned every single aspect, and sound also really interesting. So in terms of package, it's simple but nice looking. 32 ohms of impedance, 102 decibels of sensitivity, 10mm ultra linear driver, so I think it's good specifications. Not too hard to drive, not too easy, so fairly well balanced. As usual, under the outer wrap there is second box or main box, just plain cardboard. I like the touch that their logo is symmetric. You can rotate it, it still reads as AUNE. And here they are. There are two versions, silver and black one, both looks pretty good. And here is the case with accessories and cleaning piece of fabric, piece of cloth for cleaning. Also you will get nice fox leather case also for storage, looks also pretty good. 3 pair of tips, cleaning brush and stock cable. So accessory set is not huge, but at the same time all you need to use earphones you will get with them. So let's go back to the design. In terms of design, they are really good. You can probably see it even with this video. Nice combination of materials, interesting grill-like pattern, so small size, fitting nicely into ears. They are smooth, they are a bit heavy. I think that they made walls of this shell thicker to avoid to reduce resonance, but it's just my assumption. But they are a bit heavier than traditional in-ear monitors, but still really comfortable in fit and providing a bit above average sound isolation, so in this aspect everything is nice. Spouts are average in terms of length, but have proper angle, so no issues with fit. There is a lip for holding the tips and protective grill, so all that parts are present here. Build quality is nice, looks really solid and really mature. I don't know which version is better. Probably I prefer this dark one a bit more, but silver one with mirror-like finish is also really good. Cable is made replaceable, and actually it's it's the only issue in the accessory set and in the presentation of these earphones. In the presentation, not representation, just presentation. It's just too simple. It has good quality, it's pretty comfortable, but you know, it's just too basic. So there are ear hooks. They used MM6 connectors, nice quality, good click, so they holding really firmly. Ear hooks are really good to provide secure fit, but this simple rubber isolation is just average in terms of softness and getting a bit hard when it's cold outside, so basically just not on par with these earphones. So probably just spend additional $30 or so to get some third-party cable for them. Splitter, chin slider, and main part is also in the rubber isolation. It has slight microphonic effect, but thanks to ear hooks it won't be a big issue, and it's a bit harder than average, but still, of course, it's usable. But you know, nowadays we got used to more soft, more comfortable cables. But that's the case when model deserves some other cable because of sound, and you will need to replace cable not because of sound, but just because of usability. Besides the stock wire, everything is done nicely. Good package, stylish design, good wearing comfort, and so on. And of course, about the sound, I gave them about 60 hours of burn-in, but unfortunately I didn't listen to them before burning in, so I'm not sure did sound change or not. But anyway, after 60 hours of burning in, sound definitely don't change after that period of time. So either they didn't require a burn-in or 60 hours were enough. What is more important here is to find a proper tip that will provide the good isolation and good fit quality, because all in-ear monitors are tip dependent, but usually single dynamic and single balanced armature ones are even more dependent. So with stock tips I didn't get the best fit. For me the best one was with Mandarin's Symbio ear tips, but of course there could be some other options. There are a lot of different tips on market nowadays. SpinFit CP100 was okay, but not the best option, at least to my ears. But of course it depends because all ears are different. And in terms of sound representation, they are pretty natural, they are really coherent and organic in terms of sound. Frequency response is slightly V-shaped, but not overdone, just a slight accent on the low frequencies, a bit bigger accent on the treble, but anyway, mids is present and has a good body. Mids are shifted bits towards the warmer side, but not too much, so just a bit of coloration here and there to provide more effective sound with a slight accent on the emotions and macro dynamics, but still pretty resolving, especially for the dynamic driver. Bass is nice, it's deep, it has good layering, good rumble, good kick and presence, really nice depth, and of course it's controlled really well. It has a slight accent, mainly on mid-bass, but deeper layers of low frequencies are also present. It's not shadowing mids in vast majority of situations, maybe on the most bass-heavy tracks it's possible, but it's just a physics that we can't avoid. Accent on lows are not big, so I can't call this model bass head, but it's really bass pleasing, because bass has nice body, and it plays really well with both synthesized or sampled low frequencies and with real instruments. They are actually pretty good with instruments like acoustic double bass, some trumpets with low sound, with organ and other instruments that goes really low to the low frequencies domain. They have that necessary overtones and necessary small details. As an example, I've got not something audiophilic. I could select Musica Nuda, for example, or some other groups like that, but I decided to go a bit more mainstream in terms of sound. It's Ghost, Dance Macabre, and it's really nice. They have really fun big drum engaged in that records, and it has these earphones show good body, good impact, and gives nice sense of presence. So this big drum is maybe not the center part of this track, but it has its role, and these earphones shows that nicely. Mids are really organic, that's what you can probably expect from the dynamic drivers, a bit more focused on the emotions and macro dynamics, but at the same time with good resolution. It's not balanced armatures in terms of resolution anyway, because you know it's not balanced armatures, not planars, just dynamics, but nice ones. So resolution is present, but it's not focused, so they're not trying to nitpick every tiny nuance. They're not trying to be super critical or super analytical. No, just organic and with bit of emphasized macro dynamics and emotions. Imaginary stage is above average, both in width and in depth, not hugely above average, but noticeably above average, so 3D stuff is nice. Maybe width even a bit better than depth, but still layering is really good here. And as an example for the mid frequencies, I've got Godspeed You Black Emperor with Drift Like Worried Fire. Great group, good album. I don't think it requires some introduction from my side. Lot of instruments, lot of nuances, lot of small details that you can easily miss with not technical enough earphones. But at the same time, if you get some super resolving and micro details focused earphones with this track, you will lose its whole idea. It will be separated into different instruments, and they won't sound like one big group. So it's really important with such tracks to balance between the resolution and organics of representation, musicality, and all other words that can be applied here, and this model definitely delivers that here. And treble. Treble is also nice. It has accent, but not too much. They are not sharp if you select the proper tips, because you know it really depends. With tips that didn't give you proper isolation, they sounding a bit bright, but with proper tips they shifting from the brighter sound towards a bit warmer one. So it's like number one sign that you selected proper or improper tips here. At the same time, it's not the absolutely treble shy model created for those who don't like treble. No, treble here is present. It's also accented, but not overdone, at least to my ears. Extension is slightly above average, but not super extended type of treble, but really good, with nice resolution. Of course, attacks and decays are a bit slower than they should be in the real life because of dynamic driver nature of treble, but still nice sounding and pretty organic. Layering is slightly above basic, but overtone saturation is done nicely, so treble is pretty fun and pretty engaging. And as an example for the treble, go back, I've got John Coltrane, Lazy Bird, nice keyboard intro, and then of course Coltrane's part with fast, pretty aggressive saxophone, and it requires good resolution, it requires good treble, and this model delivers that. Maybe not absolutely perfect, because for such music I'd subjectively prefer some hybrid model, but if you're a fan of organic representation, dynamic drivers are what you need. So once again about sound signature, they are technical with good representation, but with slight accents on lows and treble to make sound more engaging and fun. So basically, you know, it's kind of technical type of fun tuning, let's say so. In terms of pairing, they require some decent source, so probably something from FIO M11 or a Basso DX160 up to a Basso DX220, this range. So mid and entry top level players will be the best source for them. Speaking about the comparisons, to be honest, I can't recall other models that can be easily compared. So periodic audio beryllium in the similar price range, they use beryllium diaphragm, but they are more V-shaped with a bit bigger bass and a bit more present treble, and a bit more focused on the micro contrast in the mid frequencies. So this one is a bit more organic and tad more relaxed in terms of representation. There are a lot of models in this price range, but not much sense in comparing them with hybrids like Dunu DK2001 or some other models like that, because it's hybrids. They will have more resolution on mids because of balanced armatures and less coherence and so on. For example, KB Ear Believe that I reviewed recently, it's maybe not 2 times, but it's noticeably cheaper, and they are warmer in terms of signature with a bit more weight on the mids and bit less present treble, so they more on the warmer side of tuning. Some other dynamic driver models like NF Audio and M2, they are more detailed, more bright, more focused on the micro detalization. At the same time, you know, I'm always trying to compare dynamic drivers with dynamic drivers, hybrids with hybrids, because, you know, for me that representation that is typical for the drivers, it's the most defining part of sound signature of any earphones, and for me some hybrids are usually pretty far from the dynamic drivers, for example. So AUNE created interesting dynamic driver model. I think soon there will be more reviews, and I definitely recommend you to try them, to give them a chance. Maybe it's the signature that you are looking for. But of course it's better to listen them before buying anyway, because they are closer to the that segment where blind purchase are pretty risky, at least for me. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a nice day.